There we go.
Here we go. Are we going to actually record this time?
If we're lucky.
Okay, cool. Got it. Well, in that case, let's get this throw on the show. What? That doesn't even make sense.
Well, it does if you had a couch and you had a blanket, then you would put the throw on the show.
We are in that. There we go. Well, good afternoon, good evening, or good morning, and welcome to the Blurring the Lines podcast. This is episode 159A.
Part 2. Do.
Well, it's not really part 2, it's take 2.
Take 2.
I am your host, Peter Nikolaidis, and although when I asked him a few weeks ago when we were about to record, are we ready? And he responded, listo. We were not listo. Because my co-host joining me, as always, Adam Bell.
Here I am. And we are listamos today. We are all ready.
But last week last take, he forgot to push the
big red button.
Which not only stops recording, it also starts recording.
Yes.
Oh boy. So yeah, welcome. But we didn't make that mistake this time, right?
We did not. We
Yay!
are recording.
Huzzah!
Huzzah!
Because we had a pretty good episode last time, and then as we finished, I remember my esteemed co-host Adam Bell looked at me and said, "Oh, guess what?" And yeah, that was that. So we're gonna recap a lot about the same topics if I can remember them.
I wrote them down.
Well, then this should be a piece of cake.
It should be.
Let's do it. Where do we want to start?
Well, I guess we'll start at the top, but I did want to, I don't know if you saw my shirt. I guess you, here.
This is my ugly Christmas sweater. It's a t-shirt.
Yeah, I know. Look, we took our Christmas pictures in those, and Elizabeth said, "Hey, look." I said, "Oh, it's fantastic. It's perfect for a computer guy. It's 8-bit.
I was just going to say, is that an 8-bit graphics?
Yeah. And she said, "No, it's not. It's a sweater." I said, "Well, it does just happen to be that those two things are both correct."
Not mutually exclusive.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Well then, yeah, there you go. So yeah, we talked about a lot last episode.
And it was fantastic. It was probably one of our top recordings.
Yep.
Or no recording.
Right.
It was our top conversation.
Exactly. And this time it's going to probably not be as good, except we have new and original content to add into it. So it's sort of like a remake, kind of like a reboot, but also adding on, borrowing from the original.
There we go.
Where do you want to start?
I guess we'll start at the top. So we had talked about before the marathon, and you were successful with your first marathon, no major issues until a little minor issue a little bit later.
About 3 days after the marathon, I developed some pain in the arch, my right foot.
What's the big deal?
What was the big deal? Well, not so much, except that night, it swelled up like a balloon. And that generally is indicative of some sort of stress-related injury, whether it's a bone fracture or soft tissue damage or some such. So I took a week off and then ran again, and it swelled up again. So I called the doctor, and originally the podiatrist, sports, orthopedic guy said they could see me in about 3 months.
3 months.
3 months. So I said, can you do any better? And they were able to fit me in about 3 weeks, which, as it happens, was last week.
Mm-hmm.
They took x-rays, could not find any sign of a break. So they said, well, it could be that it broke and healed. And I was like, yeah, but given my age, I don't think a bone is expected to heal in that short amount of time.
Yeah.
So I'm leaning more towards soft tissue. So he said, well, I'm going to send you to physical therapy. I want you to do PT for 6 to 8 weeks and then come back. So he referred me to this place, called them, and they said they could see me
In 3 months.
beginning of January. Close. 6 weeks. I was like, no, I see, I wanted to be done with physical therapy by then, not starting it.
Yeah.
So I called my physical therapist that I had used after my second rotator cuff tear repair. And they said, we can see you Wednesday morning.
Okay.
So I said, great, let's do that instead. So yeah. So that I actually did have that appointment. That was 2 days ago, morning, bright and early, 7 a.m. And he gave me some exercises, and he gave me a prescription for starting to get back into running. So yesterday and the day before, I actually went out on very super easy, like walk for 10 minutes, run for 2 minutes, walk for 2 minutes, run, walk, for a total of 6 reps each way.
Yeah.
So essentially 12 minutes of running.
Okay.
And then another 10 minutes of walking on the way back. So I did that yesterday and the day before, and I'm doing some light exercises. So, and it felt fine. I felt a little bit of sensation, but certainly not pain. So, whatever's going on there, there's still something going on there, but I think it might've just been getting used to moving again after taking like a month off.
Yeah.
But I'm optimistic. I'm hopeful now. This feeling in a lot better place than I was with respect to running, just a week ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm happy about that. So
well, good. So
yeah.
I'm going to go off topic here, but on topic to what we're talking about. So do you have an opinion about chiropractic versus physical therapy?
Yes. And I would throw into that osteopaths and massage therapists and yoga instructors and acupuncturists.
Okay.
Depends on the practitioner, not the practice.
Now that's a great answer, because and this is why I was at, of course, it was a leading question. I have my own opinion.
Was it really?
It was, but your answer is my answer as well. If a chiropractor, just as an example, if all they do is you're out of alignment, my hip's out of alignment, I'm walking funny, they come into the office, they stretch me out, they relieve the pressure one way or another, but they don't do anything to help me keep it in the proper position, I'm going to be back with another adjustment.
That's called job security.
Job security. So I went to, so you're is, and I agree, we're right on in that if the chiropractor is also subscribing for you exercises to do with these adjustments, he said, okay, Peter, come back in 3 days. Let's see how straight your hip is with the exercises that I'm having you do. We'll make another adjustment. Mm-hmm. And if we need to adjust your exercise, we'll do that.
Yep.
To me, that's right on track. Because I used to think of chiropractors as crazy. And that's kind of why I didn't know why I thought they were crazy, because like, how much good is that going to do? But then as I've had my own physical therapy over the years, getting the body or spine or whatever it is, neck, shoulders, hips, getting those aligned is one thing. Keeping them aligned, you've got to do the therapy associated with that.
Agreed. Yeah. And the reason I say that it's the practitioner more than the practice is, I have had physical therapists who were really good for nothing. All they did was what I showed up in their office to do, and they just had me do these exercises and paid no attention. And I even once, they didn't even review me for like an extra month. Like they were supposed to do a reevaluation. This is after my first rotator cuff repair. Mm-hmm. And they just forgot to like do the first reevaluation.
Right.
So just wasting, this is like, this is just completely wasting my time.
Mm-hmm.
A month of my time for recovery was just lost.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Conversely, I've had chiropractors who are amazing. Like I one time, there's one I can think of two, one in New Hampshire, one in Vermont, and that I've seen. And like one, I had like my knee blew out once, and I was in Aikido and this happened. And I called him up and I showed up at his office like hobbling, like, using a crutch and having to like drag myself up the 3 stairs to get into his office.
Yeah.
And after he worked on me, I walked out with a slight limp.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And this guy was a combination. He would do like physical manipulation and crunching, and also acupuncture needles.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Conversely, I've had acupuncture that didn't really do anything. I've had massage therapists that were able to take away acute pain and very strong symptoms. So and I've had physical therapists who were amazing, doing some manipulation and electric stimulation and stuff like that. So it really depends on, I think, on the person, because the lines blur, right? Blurring the lines. Hey, see what you did there? Between, especially if they're going to be mixing methodologies and modalities and stuff. So yeah, I mean, I've gone to chiropractors where all they do is like, doesn't matter what the symptoms are, every single time it's the exact same thing. Here, lie down on your back. Okay, let's check this out. We'll stretch out the spine, crunch, turn you on your side, crunch the hips, turn you on the other side, crunch the hips, lie back, crunch, adjust the neck, you're good to go.
Yeah.
I was like, it's like there's that old Far Side cartoon where someone's in veterinary school and they say like most veterinary students, such and such skips breezes through chapter 22 on horses. And it's like it lists all of these different symptoms, and the prescription is always shoot. It's kind of like that. That's how some chiropractors have felt.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I would say out of all of those, the least tangible for me would be the acupuncture and dry needling, which is something different. And I honestly don't know the difference between the two, but they are different, and they will argue adamantly that they're different. I'm like, you're sticking a needle in me. But the, some, at least the acupuncture that I've experienced was like, okay, you come in and we'll do this for 6 weeks. I'm like, what? After 6 weeks, whatever's wrong with me may just be resolved by then.
Could be. Yeah. So dry needling essentially takes acupuncture, and the theory is like, oh well, it's when you poke with needles in certain places that is stimulating the the healing response, and that's what you do. So you just poke around the affected areas. And acupuncturists really hate dry needlers.
Yeah.
Because it completely leaves out all of the traditional Chinese medicine theory about the organs and holistic approach and how to approach this and that. It's just like, oh no, stick it in the needles. And so, and I tend to agree with that. I've had dry needling and I was like, oh, I just got poked by a needle.
Yeah, I'm gonna jab myself. My wrist hurts.
Could have done that. Yeah, exactly. Whereas I had an elbow problem a few years ago from jujitsu, and it was like 3 weeks, and it was really hurting. I was not able to do a lot, and it was just like it was in pain constantly, and it was affecting my practice. I couldn't even do push-ups. And I went to an acupuncturist expecting this is going to take 3-5 weeks or so. And I walked out feeling like I was at 80%.
Yeah.
After just one treatment. I was not expecting that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, there you go. Could it be the placebo effect? Sure. Could it be stimulating my body's own healing response? Sure.
Why not?
Don't care. It worked.
Yeah. My experience is that, or this is just my layman's thinking, is that by putting all these needles in you in precarious places, like your face and your body, and then you're left in a room to be still and listen to calming music in a warm room. It's comfortable. It's very, just the environment's very comfortable, and you are very, you're not going to move. I mean, you're motivated to not move because you can't just roll over with these needles in your face. So you're being held in place. I think it's just making practical reasons for you to hold still and relax.
I believe that is very much a factor, giving you a chance just to relax and recover, right? And that goes along hand in hand with the style of yoga that I teach. Sometimes you just need a little space to chill and let the body do what it's doing. So I certainly think that that's a factor.
All right. Well, cool.
There you go.
All right. Back on track.
Yeah. How did we get off track? I don't even remember.
Yeah.
So where were we? I don't know. Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
You could left turn at Albuquerque.
I knew I should have taken that left turn at Albuquerque. So so I'm just going back because we actually had an outline based on the last time we didn't record this. Not actually a doctor. No MacBook Pro. I'm not a doctor. Is that me? Am I not actually the doctor?
Yeah, I don't remember who was actually the doctor or not.
Let's well, I'm not, so let's move on.
Yeah.
I decided that I'm not buying a new MacBook Pro just because they're overkill for me, for what I need right now, right? I don't need a MacBook Pro. And they cost twice as much as the entry-level MacBook Air.
Yeah.
So I decided to wait, thinking that we would see a MacBook Air around now before Christmas. And now the latest rumors I'm hearing is maybe sometime in second quarter of 22.
Okay.
So I'm just limping along with my computers because frankly, my PC is running okay. I have noticed there have definitely been times where it has been a little bit slow. And I'm aware of that because I used to make a big deal out of that. Like, how much time is this really costing me?
Yeah.
But generally the times when I notice it running slowly is when I'm playing games. Not really worried about that. I just crank the resolution down a little bit and it's okay. So, I'm not going to buy myself a new gamer PC. That's not me. And so I'm just holding out a little while longer. We'll see what's going on. And, I did just last month, I set up one of my clients, the CEO of a company, with his new MacBook Air. And it's really sweet. They're nice. I love the form factor. I love the size. But there's a part of me that just always wants to have the latest and greatest. I don't want to buy something now and then next month come out like, that one. But I did resist that though. I mean, I'm still rocking the iPhone 12, not the 13.
Yeah, so, same here. I've got the 12, but I just bought the 12 last year at this time.
Right. Well, I just bought mine in this summer.
Yeah.
Right? So even there, I'm like, yeah. And also I got the notification that I could save $200 on an Apple Watch Series 7. Yeah. I mean, I should do the math and see, because if I could pick it up for like, for if I could trade in my Series 6 and get $200 off, maybe that offset. I don't know. So,
yeah.
But it's probably not worth the hassle.
Yeah. I still really like my MacBook Pro. I mean, we're on it now. We've recorded every podcast on it for the last 2 years.
And sometimes we haven't recorded on it.
And sometimes we have not. But I mean, I never run out of resources. It's never locked up.
Yep.
It just works. My problem is I go through this pattern. Like I did the same thing with Ubuntu. I ran it for a good solid almost 2 years running Ubuntu, but there was all these just tiny annoyances that were so easily handled in Windows. And I finally just said, I've had enough.
You went back to the Windows world.
Yeah. So I did that with my MacBook Pro this last week because I'm going to be traveling and I've got to onboard an office with 4 different offices, and my MacBook Pro could go as the big 16-inch version of my computer, but I'm going to be in dirty data rooms, and I want the ultra portability, and I want to put it directly on the LAN and do my network scans. I don't want to pull up my Mac. I don't want to fire up my virtual machine. I don't want to run my virtual machine in Nmap through my virtual NIC. I want it native on-site running, and it's ultra portable. I mean, I just was like, I had to buy this. It's the right tool for what I needed to do. The MacBook is not the right tool for that.
There you go. Yep. So I was looking today in advance of this, reviewing the show notes for also known as our cheat notes here for this episode. So the MacBook Air, and again, I like the Airs and stuff because they're wait, are they fanless? I don't even remember. I think they're fanless. If not, the fan hardly ever fires up, right?
Yeah.
But on average, they release a new MacBook Air every 398 days. It's been 388 days. So, like in 2020, they released one in March. 2019, it was in July, so less than a year there. 2018, it was October, less than a year. 2017, it was June, so that was a bigger spread. And then it was 2015 and 2014. That's how far back they go. So, I'm like, keep on keeping my, and the Mac Rumors Buyer's Guide, they keep on saying, caution, it's nearing the end of cycle. But with COVID and supply chain issues, it could be nearing the end of cycle for quite some time.
I bet. I mean, my wet finger in the air uninformed would say May, June, based on those factors.
That's what I saw. That's what I was hearing was the latest rumors was, probably second quarter.
But my Pro, it does have a fan, and the fan only runs when I'm pulling up Adobe Illustrator, Adobe Photoshop. Not photos, not regular computing, not Zoom, what we're doing right now. Fan's not on, but as soon as I pull up Illustrator, it
Yeah, and that's the thing is like I don't, when I'm doing graphics manipulation now, like I'm cropping and sizing some giant image down to something small. It's really, minor stuff. So I don't run Illustrator. I haven't run Photoshop in I don't know how many years. I use GIMP. It does everything I need to do. Stupid name, horrible name, really clunky user interface, but I figured it out. And so
I used to love Picasa, Google's version of that.
I remember that.
It was really good. I mean, for basic stuff, all I want to do is I need to adjust the lighting, maybe adjust the hue, give some things brighter color. It was perfect for that.
There you go. So no MacBook Pro for me. And we did already touch a little bit on being frugal with computers, right? Like I'm trying to balance the loss of productivity that I may have, but I'm keeping an eye on it. I'm thinking about this and I'm paying attention. Like, am I actually losing any productivity? I don't think I am. So, again, my games, I'm losing a little bit of time for my games, but I'm not worrying about that. So
cool.
So what else we got?
All right. You said you still love your iPad mini.
We did talk about this. Yes, I am still loving the iPad mini now. I've had it for a couple months, I guess. I maintain, for me, it's the perfect tablet form factor. And I'm really liking the pencil, the Apple 2nd generation Apple Pencil, and being able to write on it. So like in my one-on-one meeting and my morning journaling and my yoga lessons, I write them out by hand now. And it's really cool. It's pretty cool. And I also like how, like, if you open up the Notes app on on my iPhone, for instance, and open up the same note, you can see them updated in near real time, which is pretty slick.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that.
Would you ever consider, I mean, of course you drive a Tesla, so you've got a digital display board right there already.
Mhm.
I was thinking in my 1998 Chevy truck, which does not have a digital display, that an iPad mini might be a nice display for GPS and any sort of communications that aren't on like my phone that I have to look down at. That might be
Yep.
cool.
That would be kind of cool. Although like you'd have to use an iPad Pro to get anywhere near the size of the display in the Tesla, because that's a 17-inch laptop panel.
Oh no, I'm talking about the mini size.
Yeah.
That
No, I think that would be perfectly viable. You take an iPad mini, you stick it in there, you use Apple Maps, and since odds are you're going to have your phone with you every time you're driving anyway, you don't go for the data plan.
yeah.
And just throw that in there, run the Maps app. You just use the hotspot from your phone, and that'd make a perfectly good, perfectly good 1998 compatible GPS.
Because we do, I mean, I run Waze now all the time when I'm
Yeah,
traveling. I don't like Waze because it will take me through some junky paths that will save me, 15 seconds, but I had to drive a whole lot harder to get there. But it is really good if there is a traffic jam 30 miles down the road that you haven't detected, that it'll tell you about that.
yes. And the others, like Google is supposedly incorporating all of that traffic data into Google Maps now.
Yeah.
They bought Waze years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I definitely get different results. Waze will still sometimes recommend some alternative routes, which I'm like, why? Why is Waze different from Google?
Mm-hmm.
Shouldn't they be the same all the time? Because you'd think that same company owning both of them, they would pick the best route every time.
Yeah. Well,
So
well, and of course routes change with traffic. So
right, but
there's that.
they've got the same traffic info.
Yeah. So
So
the Google Maps really ticked me off this spring. So it's been a while ago now. It was cold, and I was in my green truck, my old 55 Chevy truck. And I was taking back roads with Waze on because I didn't know how to get where I was going through the back roads. I had an idea, but I wasn't 100% sure how to get there. And I was following Google because Google takes it usually takes the most traveled road, and it didn't do all these considerations.
right.
And it kept saying, hey, there's a faster route. I'm like, oh, this is new. So I said, no. Okay. Plus, I'm driving my 55 Chevy, which is a 3-speed on the column. All my pedals are on the floor. I can't just be stopping to press buttons on my phone. I don't have enough. And so I was like, okay, I hit no. It prompted me another 4 or 5 times on my way there saying, do you want to change your route to a faster route? No. And it would block the screen with this change. So now I can't see the navigation. I can't hit no. I can't hit yet.
Mhm.
All right. Y'all got to think these things through, because you're constantly complaining that we're not supposed to be navigating while driving. So
Yes.
you can't change and make me try to hit buttons while I'm
Make me touch
driving.
the screen, exactly. Yeah. It's like, come on. Oh, brother. Yeah. I don't know what Waze is thinking some days. It's like, make it easier for me, So
Mhm.
what else? So yeah, we talked, this is slightly older news at this point, but we talked about iOS 15
Yep.
and our favorite features of that. And I don't remember
Mhm.
if both of us, or it was just me, but my favorite features is definitely the customized notifications and do not disturb settings.
Yeah.
So was that you too, or was that just me? I don't
No, I
remember.
remember you talking about that. There was something that I liked, but I can't remember what it was.
Well, the fact that you can specify different types of do not disturb, it's not just all or nothing anymore.
Yeah.
And so I have, well, let me just take a look. Let me open up my do not disturb settings and take a look exactly here. I'm going to go into focus. So there's do not disturb, which is for me a hard do not disturb. It just doesn't let anybody, disturb me. Doesn't take any phone calls, no apps, no nothing. Then I have driving, which also does not take any, doesn't allow anything. Although with my Tesla, it does allow text messages to come through, and the car will read them to me. And then I can try and fail to reply to it, because that never works. And the dictation is terrible because the processor in my car is so underpowered. It's ridiculous. So I also have fitness. So for fitness, I allow notifications to come in from a certain number of people and a certain number of apps, right? So like if my boss or a key client was to text me and certain close friends, I allow them to text me while I'm doing a workout. And I allow notifications, say, from my front door and certain, a large number of my workout apps, because I want those notifications while I'm working out. Otherwise I don't get the, hey, your heart rate is too high, or, hey, you just ran your 10 miles, you can stop now, right? So I want those apps. I also have personal time, where I will accept text messages and also Signal notifications and Discord notifications. Amazon, the lady in the tube, she can message me. My car, my Tesla, it can message me. So when I'm on personal time, but I don't take Slack messages, and I don't take phone calls from, clients. I have sleep, where, like I might allow the lady to send a text message. That's about it. I don't care. Work wants to call, they can call all they want. I'll get it when I wake up. And then I have work mode, where again, I have a couple of personal people allowed to send me messages, but by and large, like, no, so it's just, I'll take, I'll take phone calls from WebEx and Zoom from their, like their dial-in numbers.
Yep.
A couple of close friends and family, and then it's all just a bunch of work apps that I'll take, so I'll like get mail notifications, secure mail notifications, WebEx, Zoom, Slack, all those, but not other stuff, so I don't want, like, I don't get Discord messages while I'm in the middle of work time. So that's how I've customized that right now, and it seems to be working out pretty well for me. So
Cool.
So that's how I have my my iOS 15 notifications customized at this point.
Very good. So this is a funny story.
This one I don't recognize. This one seems new.
This is new. So this past weekend, well, the weekend before last, we were watching X-Files, all four of us. And in one of the episodes, the old woman says to her son to get her juice.
Is that Leonard Betts?
It's the guy who could jump universes.
Not Leonard Betts, different episode. Got it. Carry on.
But so he gets, and she's drinking Clamato. That was her thing. And Ashlyn, my oldest daughter, says, "What is Clamato?" And so we explained to her what it was. And we even explained, that it's a, there's Budweiser even has their Budweiser Clamato. And it's Budweiser and Clamato together. And I bought it just to try it because I wondered, because I like Mexican culture and I like Mexican food, like true Mexican food. And I was like, well, if Mexicans like this, I probably like this. I don't like this. So that went on. That was just like a 2-minute conversation explaining what Clamato was. And then on Monday, Ashlyn goes back to school. She gets an advertisement pop up on her computer for Clamato. And she's like, how in the world? I said, do you really think your iPhone is not listening to what we're talking about? Yeah, all four of us are in a room with our iPhones, probably 5 devices on. Somebody picked up Clamato and you got the advertisement as the 20-year-old.
Yeah, I there was an app for, I think it was like a European football club, soccer club, where they were turning on the microphone and they were listening, and they've admitted that. But I really can't buy that you would just randomly get a Clamato ad with no one, out of the blue. That's just, I don't think big data is that good where they could have predicted that without some external inputs. I think they're listening.
Yeah. Because I mean, my daughter is 20. She'll be 21 April 1. So I'm not so foolish to think that she has not drank any of the 3 years that she's been in college.
Now, did you have any Amazon ladies in the tube in that area?
In the room. Yeah, I've got an Amazon Fire.
Yeah, I mean, that thing is always listening. It's always listening, otherwise it wouldn't be able to, like have its wake word. So
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. All right. I don't know. I want to believe that, oh no, they're not listening to, and I don't believe that for a second.
Yeah. I don't believe it.
Yeah. So we talked a little bit about Google versus, let me just quit it here. Google versus Alexa versus Siri. Hear me anyway.
I think we were talking about the different devices because you had said that you had a Google, one of their little ones, and I mentioned one for our door. And
yes. So I did, and this ties into Black Friday, I did buy a couple of extra Echo devices.
Yeah.
I have Google Home, minis or Nest Home minis. I don't know where, in a couple of places, but it's just not as, it's extra effort to go through configuring all of those devices to work with all the rest of the stuff in my smart home, whereas it's already tied into Alexa. So it's just the path of least resistance.
Yep.
And then while I was at my parents' place for Thanksgiving, I brought a couple more up there. So pretty much every room in the first floor of the house, which is really the only floor that they spend time on now, my dad can either receive a call or ask the lady in the tube to, call Peter. And it worked. Like, I called him yesterday morning. I was driving on my way to an appointment, and he I think I was driving back from physical therapy 2 days ago, and he answered, and he was in the shower. And he was like, yep, I'm in the shower, I'll call you back. I'm like, okay, good. But he didn't, because he's like, definitely, seems like he's got a little bit of compulsive, behavior. At some point, he hears the phone or the call coming in, and he feels like he has to go run to figure it out. And I'm like,
yeah,
no, you don't, first off, but he's going to do it anyway. So I was like, well, here, now you don't have to move. You can just take the call right there. So now, I'll be honest. I bought the new ones and I gave him my old ones. Why? Because he's A, never going to notice, and B, never going to care. So I get the upgraded sound quality with mine. Related to that, I did make a couple of Black Friday / Cyber Monday / November is sale month purchases. So I did get a couple of Echo devices. And I have noticed, from the 3rd gen to the 4th gen, the sound quality improves every time.
Yeah, of course.
I had a 1st gen and I've had a 2nd gens. And I also had the Echo Flex. I mean, that thing is like a little tinny, it's like a doorbell speaker, like a buzzer, like, who is it? Or maybe it's kind of like, whopper no onions. So I got a few of those, and the sound quality has definitely been getting better. The Google Minis that I have, those sound quality is pretty nice.
Yeah.
So I was like thinking I could use those, but just like working with the two different assistants and the two different ecosystems, it becomes a pain.
Yeah.
So I've got those, and then I also ordered the Ecobee smart thermostat, which works with all of those and Apple HomeKit with Siri. But I did not get the one with Alexa built in. They make those where it's like an Echo device built in, because frankly, where the thermostat sits, it's literally within 8 feet of 3 other Alexa capable devices, not counting my phone, right?
Yeah.
Because I have the Fire TV Cube, I have the Sonos Beam, and I have an Echo device in the kitchen. So I didn't need another one of those.
Yeah.
And it was $200, and I got the Ecobee with the Ecobee Lite with 2 additional sensors, so that I can emulate the same setup I have with my Nest thermostat. Only supposedly it's going to work better, because the Nest has fallen down. They have never allowed you, while you can set a schedule, it has this concept of morning, morning, day, afternoon, evening, and night, but you can't dictate when those time periods start.
Okay.
So, and the only reason you use those is you say, like, during the day, use the 3rd floor sensor to dictate the temperature. At night, use the bedroom, thing to temperature. Well, night starts at like 9 p.m. What if I go to bed at 10? You can't change it, right?
Yeah.
So
It's more
plus
programming.
what's happened to me on a number of occasions, including now, is that the location awareness based on my phone just doesn't work. I was up in Vermont and it was turning on the heat while I was gone. Defeats the whole purpose of having the Nest.
Yeah.
And and also I would come home recently, standing here in the house with the thing, and it doesn't know that I'm home. So I'm like, okay, I've had enough of this. So plus they've also been like ratcheting back their integrations, because Google owns Nest. So they want all of, if you want to do automation and integration and stuff, you have to use your Google account for it. And I just don't want to do that, because one of the last remaining integrations I had was with IFT. And I want to keep that, which you can't do if you switch to a Google account. So I'll probably end up taking my Nest thermostat up to my parents' place in Vermont, because in one room of the house, they have a thermostat in the basement, and where the guest, I'm turning into my guest room for when I stay there. And so at least that way I'll be able to say, Alexa, turn up the heat. And, so that's probably where that will go there. And, I won't care about location awareness or anything like that. So that's so that was it. Oh, and I did also buy a pair of jeans. Like, I've been wanting the last time I bought a pair of jeans was like 2 years ago. And I've really been wanting a new pair. I bought one and they were too tight, so I got the next size up and they were also too tight, and I was like, whatever. So I just sent it back, and I think that was about all I ended up buying. Oh, that's the other piece that I wanted to cover. Back in 2000, I want to say 13 or 14, I was given a demo Bluetooth keyboard, the same dimensions as an iPad mini.
Right.
From Canex, Kanex. And I wrote a review of it. So essentially I did the review, and they're like, yeah, you can keep the keyboard. I was like, great. I've used that thing on and off for like 6 or 7 years. And it's great. It's a tiny little keyboard. Again, the size of an iPad mini. So like 7 inches or so. But it's a full QWERTY keyboard with little, inverted T arrow keys. And I love the thing. It has recently just stopped working intermittently. Like, some of the keys will stop working and I have to reset it. One time I had to unpair it and repair it. Apparently, though, it's a very popular design, because there are an infinite number of knockoffs that you can get, which look exactly the same. So So I bought something with a built-in case as well for my Mac Mini, my iPad Mini, because apparently sometime in the last month, not long after I got it, I dropped it and put a nice dent right in one of the corners. And I could not figure out how this happened. And then I realized at one point I dropped it in the bag that I carry it around in, and it must have just hit right on the corner, just like a fraction of an inch away from the camera.
Yep.
So I was very glad that, other than this cosmetic ding that's there now, it's perfectly fine. But I did opt for the keyboard with built-in case.
There you go.
So hopefully that'll be here tomorrow, along with my thermostat, along with my new C clamp for my microphone boom that you have talked me into installing. So,
yep, I'm gonna dig out my good mic, and it's gonna be awesome.
Yep. Oh boy. So I know we had a lot of other stuff to talk about, but I think we're pretty good at this point, as from my end anyway. What else did you want to cover?
I think that is it. You had mentioned, you'd asked if I had bought any Black Friday. I hate shopping. I buy things when I want them. And I just buy them when I want them, provided they're not a budgetary breaker.
Right.
Like that laptop I bought, I had to see if I had the money before I could do that. But I didn't. If I'm buying whatever, a pair of jeans or whatever, I'm just going to go buy it from wherever I need to buy it. So but I hate shopping. I like shop the Amazon Black Friday deals, and I get in there, I'm like, scroll. This is nothing that I want. I'm done.
Yep. So I'm just going through. We had a number of things that I wanted to cover today, but we've ended up going back. So we'll just punt those out to next episode.
Sounds great.
But I forgot. So I went and I saw a physical therapist, and I said I did say that I actually went for a run yesterday, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I did cover that. I've been telling I'm backing into becoming a runner, so I'm talking about it constantly. So I don't remember who I've told. So cool. So we covered one last bit. I guess I want one last thing. So
okay.
Apparently, so last week I went to my doctor's office because my vision in my right eye was blurry.
Yeah.
And I couldn't see, and I noticed it. I just got new glasses last month, and I was having trouble reading with my reading glasses on. And then I was having trouble reading while I was driving. And then I noticed after a couple of days, I had this gooey buildup in my eyes in the morning.
Yeah.
And I bought eye drops, and I had them for a few days, and it didn't get any better. And I called my primary care physician's office, and I was like, should I see you? Should I see an optometrist? And I said, no, you can come in tomorrow morning. Came in, physician's assistant looked at me, and I had told her that I had some gel that had been prescribed when I had scratched my cornea a couple of years ago, and some amoxicillin gel, and that seemed to make things better. So she prescribed something similar, another antibiotic eye drop. That was a week ago, and it hasn't really been getting any better.
Mm-hmm.
And then today, out of the blue, all of a sudden, ow, wow, my eye hurts. Feels like I have like a contact lens stuck in there or something.
Yeah.
What is going on? Oh my God. I'm in the mirror. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm running my eye under the faucet, just a constant stream of water trying to get. Pops a contact lens.
How?
I've had it stuck in my eye for 2.5 weeks. I looked, I couldn't see it. The physician's assistant looked, she didn't see it. For 2.5 weeks, that was in there. So I promptly called my optometrist, whom I will be going to see tomorrow, because that's as soon as she could see me, just to make sure I'm okay.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking that it's probably a good thing that I was on antibiotics for this, in eye drops for the last couple of weeks, because who knows what kind of infection could have developed in that time.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I realized, I looked back, I was like, I could not remember, when was the last time I even put in contacts? Because I only do that when I'm biking or when I'm running. November 14th, I went on a hike.
Uh-huh.
And I remember that day. It's just like a 4 or 5 mile, walk out to the park where I like to go running and stuff. And I remember that day I put on contacts. And usually when I get home, I pop them right out because looking around at close-up stuff just doesn't work.
Right.
Somehow I spaced and I forgot it and didn't even notice it for days, which is really, really unlike me.
Yeah.
But the fact, like, this thing, this new lenses that I've got, they're so thin, I didn't even notice that they were there. And I noticed I was irritated. Something was there, but I didn't even know I had it in. And I'm like, my mind boggles that I didn't catch that. And also that under a brief eye exam to figure out what was going on, she didn't catch it either.
Yeah.
So don't do that.
Yeah. Well, so I've had whenever I go down to the farm and I do a lot of woodworking, sometimes in the corners of my eye, it'll build up this gunk.
Yeah.
And a couple of days afterwards, because I think what happens is the sawdust irritates my eyes and get little sawdust particles in there, and then they irritate until they finally work themselves out, and this gunk goes away. But I've kind of had a chronic with this one that is finally squared away, but it took a long time.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is like I didn't know what was going on. I thought I had some kind of infection or allergy or whatnot. Yeah, it was a contact lens.
Yeah, there was an obstruction. It was supposed to be a helpful obstruction, but obstruction nonetheless.
It wasn't that helpful. So yeah, I think that's about all I got. I got a lot more, but unless you got anything else, I say we wrap it and punt it to next episode.
Let's punt it. And we do, listener, we would like your feedback, not the Russian and other people who have been giving me comments on our website. I don't care about those.
Spam.
Not spam. No bots. Don't need those anymore. But thank you anyway for considering us. We do want your feedback. If you'd like to discuss a particular topic, then you can drop us a line at www.blurringthelinespodcast.com. We have Twitter locations and we have other websites. You can catch Peter at paradigmcc.com, yogawithpeter.com, and friendswithbeer.com, which is also a podcast that you may enjoy.
You might.
You can find me at www.sublimecomp.com.
Boom. And on that note, I think it's time once again to push that button with a scarlet hue to it, which not only starts, but also stops recording.
That's the one.